Paul and I switched to a high raw plant foods lifestyle 15 years ago. And yet 15 years on, we experienced another major life crisis. So if you're going through really tough time with a lot of things in your life, let's talk about how to get through it and how your lifestyle plan can assist you through these major changes in your life. Let's get started.
Hey, it's Paul and Julia Tarp here, certified holistic nutritionist with over 12 years of experience helping you balance your gut, your hormones and your weight naturally.
And if you're brand new to our channel, hit subscribe to stay up to date with our latest videos. And also, we've got a free 1-day hormone reset plan that you can download and start using right away by going to the link that you've seen on the screen. Okay, so let's go 15 years back when we first switched to a high raw vegan diet, although it was a raw vegan diet at the time. So Paul and I switched to a raw vegan diet, and it was due to my health crisis because at the time I was going through a total nightmare. First, debilitating adrenal fatigue, but that was kicked due to my hypothyroid issues, and to a point where I struggled to function. I literally struggled to function. On some days I would stay in bed most of the day, and I would only have energy towards the end of the day, and that was back in my 20s. You know, that's not fun at all, feeling like you are in your late 90s. So as well as that, I also had a lot of candida problems, and I tried the anti-candida diet and I tried restricting carbs and sugar, and that wasn't going anywhere. It was just constant battle with getting more supplements and going to see another naturopath or homeopath or herbalist or this person and that person, and every person would give me more and more supplements or pills to take, and it wasn't going anywhere, and I was still sick and stuck. And eventually, through my search, I came across a raw food diet, and right away it's like, wow, raw food diet? That sounds so out of the box, so exciting, so new, so fresh. There's just raw food diet. It's just like it's sort of going to another planet almost, to live on another planet.
That's what I thought, yeah. I thought, wow, this is so bizarre, but it seems to make sense.
Yes. When you go through major crises in your life, you become really open to changes, right? And eventually, sort of, when you try this thing and nothing works, and you are not the type of person who gives up at all. I was going to say easily, but then I thought, no, at all, ever, right? And you want to really get to the level of health that you want to experience, then you'll keep on searching. So Paul started
watching videos, researching, reading books, and the more I read, the more sense it made, and it's like, wow, yeah, well, we've got to try it, definitely.
So the next minute, our house is full of boxes of bananas and fruit and greens. Our fridge is filled with greens, and by that time we were already vegetarians. Okay, great. Well, the next step is to exclude cooked food and go in the direction of raw food, and that was 15 years ago. And right away I started to gain more energy, and I started to really feel how my body was finally getting what it wanted, that was nourished with healthy fruit, sugars. And I was feeling that joy that came back into my life, that excitement, that just desire to explore.
Vibrancy.
We started to walk together for longer, and we started to exercise, and
no more headaches for me. I used to get headaches every week, once or twice a week. They disappeared, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic, and I didn't get headaches anymore. Yeah, it's just amazing, really was.
Yes, and you also had hemorrhoids down there, and that went.
Yeah, that went as well.
A big, annoying problem.
Yeah, so it's just your overall health just gets pushed up like several levels virtually straight away, and it's like, wow, it's incredible what it can do. It's just changing my diet. Really amazing. Really amazing. And
that's like for you were relatively healthy, but I was not.
Even I still noticed differences. Definite significant differences. Yeah. Started to run around the block as well. Do some runs around the block.
I started to run a little bit, and then eventually we just kept on rebuilding our fitness, and we went to the tropics where fruit is abundant, and we started participating in races. So we did a 10k race, and then
6-hour race we did as well.
And then I signed up to triathlon. We did half marathons in between and 10k races. And
10k race, bare feet we did, and mountain race, going up this mountain in Thailand. Yeah, so many races. It was fun.
And we started to rebuild our health. And from there, although you always face challenges in life, but wouldn't you agree that there are stages in your life that despite the challenges, you still got that flow in your life and things are moving and it seems that you're just winning in life and it's effortless. And
building your health can give you more resilience, I think, is one way of looking at it as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
And your fitness is there, and then our daughter was born, and of course that's another thing that I fixed, PCOS and fertility problems, so I conceived naturally, and our beautiful daughter Eleni was born, and me breastfeeding all the time when she was born, and that took a lot of energy as well, but at the same time I was still thriving and running and just doing things and having the energy that I needed. And you obviously were just doing great all the time.
Yeah. Loving it, absolutely loving it. Yeah, totally.
And then 2020 came along, and when you're a conscious person and you're starting to see this world and the world is shutting down, and especially if you have kids. We went to Costa Rica, so thankfully we kind of like escaped a lot of that kind of craziness. Yeah, and especially for our daughter, we went to Costa Rica because we didn't want her to be separated from her friends. Our dream was to literally give her a reality where she was running around with friends on the beach barefoot and playing and seeing none of just like being in a different space. And we found it, and we're very grateful that it provided us with that space. And at the same time, things started to get stricter and stricter, and Costa Rica was the first country to make things mandatory for kids, which we had concern about. And then it was just that never-ending search for a place to go where you can live a normal life, and normal, compared to the rest of the world life, and also the different concerns. And that's when I noticed that, it's just something is changing in me, in my energy levels, in my health, and there's just like a lot of mental decisions going on as to where to base ourselves, where to live, and how to provide alternative education for a child in an environment that is not going to
negatively impact on them.
Let us know in the comment section below, how did you handle that whole period of time?
Yeah.
How did you find, especially as a conscious person who understands, right? Let's face it, we conscious people understand what's going on. We know that there is something else behind this whole modern sickness thing, right? That so many people were afraid of back then. So how did you handle it? Did you notice, did it affect you mentally, and was it sort of like a dark time also for you that you went through, especially if you have kids? So, and then our plan was to move to the US because Florida seemed to be like the place to be back then with freedoms, in terms of freedoms. We came back to England to apply for a visa there in Florida, not residency, but visa. And instead of it taking like a month to 2 that we planned, so we would start the school in September and go to Florida, it ended up being the end of November. So it's like, okay, well, what do we do in the meantime? Where do we go? And we decided to stay in England. And that was a big change to our plans because we've always lived abroad and in the tropics. And then we went through a whole year where we lost 10 family members in 1 year. So on top of our challenges of moving and understanding where to be, choosing the school for our daughter, relocating, finding a place, me starting to sort of experience health challenges, we are starting to see how just constantly these deaths are happening in our family. So first it was Paul's dad who went, and it was just incredibly energy consuming and traumatic, and we lived 3.5 hours away, and there was back and forth constant, Paul going and me staying here looking after Eleni. Then we would go and stay with them to help him depart and leave this world and look after him. So how did that affect you?
Yeah, it was It was a difficult time, and a lot of stress, and obviously a lot of stress on my mum as well, not just us and the family members. You know, just knowing that your dad's going through a really big struggle, and he's getting worse and worse, and he's not going to get better.
He had the last stage of cancer. He had 2 weeks. He lived for 2 weeks, and that was it. From the moment that he got the diagnosis to the moment he departed this world, it was a quick departure. So in a way, there was less suffering for him, but it was really big time, you know, to go through. And then we realized that we can't move to Florida. We can't move anywhere at the moment because we wanted to stay in England to support Paul's mum. And actually, we couldn't even go on a holiday to some sunny tropical destination because it wasn't appropriate. And then the funeral took another month, and that was into the end of January. And then we needed to stay here to support your mum. And then anyway, that was a massive thing to go through. And then we also had other deaths in the family, and every month, as soon as you would get over one, there would be another death, or someone suffering, someone on a deathbed. I've lost 3 young cousins as well because of that. Between 40 and 60, right? It's a young age for to die. And then the families are left behind, and all the grief, and it was just so dark. It was that dark tunnel and we couldn't even, we knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, but we couldn't see it at the time. You just overwhelmed by darkness in life. And yes, you're trying to breathe and see yourself through, but it's just so hard, really hard. And then 11 months on, Paul lost his mum as well. So
yeah,
and
it was tough.
So as well as
very tough.
Losing both of the parents, we also lost 8 other family members. In terms of the diet and lifestyle, on the one hand, your diet cannot solve it all, right? So you need to solve things and find solutions. But on the other hand, your diet helps you build your character, helps you build resilience, a lot of resilience, because all of a sudden, instead of eating just your normal sort of food, the normal food that people eat in this world, you are eating the most health-building foods that you can eat.
So the really positive thing is, when you have this diet and lifestyle and you've got it, you've mastered it, you can really lean into yourself and rely on that side of you that's healthy and does all these healthy things to get through the times which are difficult, and you can do it. It's that foundation that you've built for yourself. So we feel that's been so hugely beneficial for us through these dark times, and it's really, really helped us.
And the thing I would say that's helped me get through it is knowing that life has cycles, and dark cycles simply cannot last forever. When you're in the middle of it all, it's just so hard to see beyond it and to rise beyond it and to see the many blessings that will emerge from it, the many changes, the positive changes in your life that will happen after that crisis, how you review things, how you reprioritize things. At the same time, when you have that strength that you built in your body, so let's say that you're struggling with your health and you're switching to a plant foods lifestyle and you're eating a lot of raw foods, or maybe eating a raw food lifestyle plan, and you keep on making those choices every single day, and then you're choosing the path of health. So every single time there's like this challenge comes along, and this challenge comes along, and another challenge comes along, but despite these challenges, every single time you're making the choice of staying committed and dedicated to your health, to your body. What do you think will happen when a big challenge, when a big crisis hits you, or like a big life crisis hits you? Well, you've built that muscle, okay? Even though you haven't experienced it to that, intense level before, you've built your muscle, and you will be able to go through it with the strength that you've built within you, and that spirit that you've built within you, that faith in yourself, that faith in your body, just knowing that, yes, it's very dark, it's a dark tunnel you're going through, and you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you know that there is some kind of force, the force of life, that will get you through it, and you are staying true to what's good for you, what's healthy for you. And then things start to change and more flow is starting to, and only now we have to admit that it's only now that we're feeling like, oh, we actually, our head is above water now. Just slightly, just sort of like still rebuilding our strength after this tremendously hard few years that we went through.
Time is a healer as well, for sure.
And time is a healer as well. And during those times, it's very important to also focus on the blessings and just go down to the basic things. You know, when I was working with a psychologist before, she told me that, you know, when your head is so overwhelmed and there are so many challenges in your life, just focus on the most basic things: food, drinking enough water, being warm, exercising, meditating, just those little things. Don't think about solving all the big things. Just look after yourself. And that is the most important thing. And that is the biggest gift that you can give your body during those times. And not only your body, but also your mind and your soul, that just is going through so much healing during those times.
Okay, so final thoughts. Health is not everything, as the saying goes, but everything is nothing without health. And health is super important. We need it to get through life's challenges. And this is what we've used ourselves over the last few years to get through all the challenges that we faced.
So to help you rebuild yourself, we've created a special free online training class that will go into 5 root causes of hormonal imbalances, gut issues, weight loss resistance, and autoimmune issues that most doctors miss, that leave people stuck and sick. And without removing those root causes, healing cannot take place. So register for our free training class, go through the root causes, get a plan that can help you move forward, and then start building your life, creating your life the way you want to. So that's the link, vibewithhealth.com/training. So grab yourself a free spot.
Okay, so thanks very much for watching. And in our next video, we're going to show you a day in our life.
And what we eat. See you there.
See you there.